Hailing from the great cold state of Alaska, I am the Frozen Gamer, and today I want to talk to you guys about the Nintendo Switch's Virtual Console. Specifically, when a user just recently got his Switch early, as a mistake from whatever company he pre-ordered it through, one of the things that has been spotted in there is a description basically saying that any titles that have been purchased through the eShop for Virtual Console will be account-based now. Now, whether that actually means that those titles are going to be, it's just things you purchase on the Switch itself, or it actually means anything that's been purchased on the Wii U eShop or the 3DS eShop will be available. That's something we don't know yet, but from the sounds of it, it sounds like it's very possible that anything that's been purchased on the eShop for either the Wii U or the 3DS, as long as it's actually available on the Switch for Virtual Console, it will be something that you'll be able to just get again. You won't have to purchase it again, which is something that would be, well, honestly fantastic. Obviously those people who, like myself, started using Virtual Console with the Wii, some titles have been purchased at least a couple of times, and certainly none of us really want to purchase those games again, especially all the ones we really enjoy, to be able to play them on our new system. And if in fact all these purchases transfer over based on our eShop accounts, or rather our My Nintendo accounts, the Nintendo Network IDs, then that means that we might actually be able to download a bunch of Virtual Console games day one when the Switch arrives without having to purchase a bunch of new stuff. This would be a huge step forward for Nintendo. Obviously, it's just something that it'll save people a lot of money. There's such a wealth of titles to choose from, and if they make it so that you can just upgrade to that version without having to pay anything extra, that would be amazing. For me, PlayStation was something where it never really appealed to me as much, even though there's definitely some great games that I purchased as PS1 classics, and even a couple of PS2 classics as well, but it wasn't quite the same. I don't have the same nostalgia as I do for a lot of Nintendo titles, or even a desire to play many of those games because some of them just don't hold up. Now, with PlayStation, I did buy Final Fantasy VII and 8 and 9 as PS1 classics, and I also bought Final Fantasy VI later, and both Parasite Eve 1 and 2, the second of which I had never actually played, and Parasite Eve 2's controls are garbage, by the way, which is why I haven't completed it yet. But I can definitely say that even though there have definitely been some titles that have been worth buying as classics, and that's why I've been glad that PlayStation's been account-based, it hasn't been quite the same as with Nintendo. With the Wii Virtual Console, I bought a bunch of Virtual Console games. The only reason I didn't transfer them over to my Wii U was because I wanted to keep both systems. I didn't want to just have everything that was on my Wii transferred over to my Wii U. I wanted the Wii U to be its own system. And so I never did that. And so I still have a bunch of Virtual Console games on the Wii, which in some ways I do kind of wish I had been able to transfer it over, but I think at this point it wouldn't work the same. But either way, I've gotten some great Virtual Console games as well on the Wii U, a couple of which, both Super Metroid and Harvest Moon, both the Super Nintendo versions, I have only purchased the one. I purchased both of those on the Wii and the Wii U, and I actually also purchased Super Metroid on 3DS, although with the Wii U version of Super Metroid, I actually got it for 30 cents because it was the Famicom's 30th anniversary when I bought that, so that was pretty nice. But even so, being able to take these Virtual Console games onto the Switch and have them anywhere with you is amazing. And if they allow us to take any of the things we've gotten so far, even if they're not all available on day one, even just some of them available on day one, and not have to purchase them again, would be amazing. I mean, just recently I bought Metroid Zero Mission because I really wanted another 2D Metroid, and I haven't played Zero Mission since I was in college. So it's been about 6-7 years, probably longer than that actually, since I last played Zero Mission. And I really wanted to play it again, and I've been playing through that and loving it. And then I also got Super Mario 64, which I own on the N64, but I haven't played it as much because the joystick's kind of janky for my N64 controller, and that seems to be the case with most of them these days. Most of them they're old, and the joysticks have not held up very well. But anyway, I've been playing both of those games, and they're so good. Such great games. Even with some aspects of Super Mario 64 that are more dated. But nevertheless, the main thing is that Virtual Console on the Switch, especially if it's really account-based, which as far as we can tell it is going to be account-based, and if we get to transfer our purchases over from the previous systems, is going to be huge. Now, I do not believe that anything you purchased on the Wii is going to transfer over to the Switch. I think most likely because of the differences in the Wii store versus the eShop, I don't believe that's going to happen. But for any purchases that have been made on the Wii U or 3DS, I firmly believe that those will be transferred over. And that could be really nice. And one other thing related to that I thought about, there's quite a few Wii games that are available to purchase on the Wii U eShop. And I purchased a couple of them myself, both Xenoblade Chronicles and Super Mario Galaxy 2. But then there's also, games like the Metroid Prime trilogy. And there's the original Super Mario Galaxy, there's just a bunch of different titles that you can get as Wii titles. And I really believe because of the way the Joy-Cons are made, because of the fact that they are basically more advanced versions of the Wii Remote Plus, that those very easily could mimic a Wii Remote and Nunchuck. And so it would not be a problem at all to carry over those Virtual Console titles for the Wii over to the Switch. And that could be really, really awesome. Especially something like the Metroid Prime trilogy. I just played through the rest of Metroid Prime 3, because I had never actually finished it before, even though I've had the trilogy for years. And man, that game controlled well. I mean, there were definitely some flaws with some of the motion controls, like when you have to pull back a lever and then push it back in. Sometimes it would lose the configuration there, and it would be a little bit off. But, I mean, just think of it. Using gyroscope controls instead of being forced to use infrared controls for the pointing would be amazing. Because those games control so well with the pointer, and not having to deal with the infrared sensor and just being able to do it entirely gyro-based, I just think it would work extremely well. So, anyway, that's kind of my thoughts on what I think will be great about the Virtual Console, assuming that it is in fact going to be account-based, as far as we can tell that is the case. But I want to hear your thoughts. What do you think about the potential for Virtual Console on the Switch? Do you think that there's some misinterpretation with the image we've seen from the person who got their Switch early? Or do you think that this is legit? And furthermore, if in fact this is a legitimate thing, do you think it's going to be starting with your purchases on the Switch, it'll be account-based, or do you think it's actually going to be anything you purchased on the Virtual Console for either 3DS or for Wii U are going to also be available? And how quick do you think they'll roll those out? I personally am hoping that they'll at least have a handful of those games available at launch, like some of the big ones. Right now we still haven't heard anything about GameCube Virtual Console, and the fact that the Joy-Con do not have analog triggers is a bit concerning from that standpoint. And yes, there is definitely the possibility that the GameCube adapter from the Wii U will also work with the Switch, but even then that would only be when it's docked. So whether or not that's going to happen is really hard to say, and we'll just have to wait and see. But either way, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. Please leave a comment below, like the video if you enjoyed it. Go ahead and subscribe if you have enjoyed my content so far. And I'm sorry that there hasn't been really anything since before the January 12th presentation. I actually recorded a reaction video, and there was like a chunk in there where the video wasn't loading for me, so I don't have anything. And then I was trying to get it all together earlier today, but as I was editing it, after I finally got it synced up, my son decided to push the power button on my computer and I lost everything. So I'll probably still get that reaction video up, but it's not going to be immediately. I figured I'd get some new content out for you guys first and then try to get that reaction video up within the next week. So look forward to that, and until next time, this has been the Frozen Gamer. Have a great day.